Hey everybody, how's it going today? It's good to see you all. It's all music with Todd Ledbetter, and we're here in 1997. We're playing a little catch up since I was off for a couple of weeks, but I hope you caught my 1996 episode. And if you didn't, go back and check that out. I'll link it in the on this video here somewhere, maybe in the card up top or at the end screen. You can just click and check it out. But 1996 or 1997, we're in now. It's kind of an interesting year. A lot of different types of music. Once again, some stuff that hits pretty close to home as far as just stuff I was really listening to back then. And it may not be like your favorite stuff, but this was what I was listening to. And I'll go through some of the other types of things in the top 100 that were out as well that you might recognize. But this is my top six picks, my favorite albums of 1997. So we're getting close to the 2000s, almost closing out the 90s. But let's go ahead and get started with my number six pick. And my number six pick is none other than Blur. Their 1997 release, Blur, self-titled album. This album is kind of an arty album in a way. It's got some sort of kind of punky sort of feel to it, and some art type rock stuff, and I really liked this album at the time. I used to listen to it a lot when I first opened my first furniture store retail location. It'd be playing in the background, and people are like, "What the heck is going on in here?" But I enjoyed this album a lot, and it's my number six pick out of the releases in 1997. Enjoy that album quite a bit, and they're the Blur album. All right, so let's move on to number five. I think a lot of people's favorite, one of their favorite um, rock and roll bands from the 90s, the Foo Fighters, The Color and the Shape. It's a great album. Just love the Foo Fighters. A lot of great songs, and just their style of rock and roll. My Hero is a great one, and all these songs are just great. It's a great album. It's a long album. It's got 14 songs, but definitely one that's fun to listen to and to get that Dave Grohl Foo Fighter element going. That's my number five. Okay, now my next band is a band that's been around for a long time, and they're still making albums. But I don't know if you hit this one or not in the 90s. This was 1997 release. Let me know if you guys ever heard this, or what you thought of it. But one of my favorite bands of all time is U2, and this album, the Pop album, came out, and there's "Staring at the Sun" might be one of their most popular songs that got the most radio play off of this album, but it's a very interesting album. It's definitely one of those albums where they, were experimenting with sounds and how they wanted to come across and kind of shake things up. Yet still has that YouTube sound. And when you go back and listen to this album, I don't know if you ever heard it, but since I've heard it before, I'm familiar with it. But you go back and listen to it, and you're just like, wow, these guys were ahead of their time with this album, and you can hear a lot of the influences. Even like Nine Inch Nails and things like that going on. A lot of electronic type, rock, or I don't know what you call it, but it's a very good album. It's got some great ballads in it, and some cool ear candy, definitely in this particular album. Love it a lot. So that's my number four, U2's Pop album. Let's see. I just wanted to look real quick. Let's see. Let me go back to check this out. Where were we? Let's see. See, because I recently talked about an album. They were in my top six recently. The album before. Oh yeah, Zooropa was the album that was before the Pop album. Another different type of album. It had a couple hits on it too, but if you haven't listened to that album, definitely check it out. And we'll just go ahead and move on to number three. Oh yeah, number three. Where is it? Oh yeah, here we go. Okay, so my number three album, I think we were all I mean, I don't know. I include all you guys into this stuff, you know. But I mean, it's hard to deny when you heard this album, Radiohead's OK Computer, you know, the impact that it had, you know, on us. You know, it's just an amazing album, in my opinion, with a just a plethora of sounds and again, there's this term ear candy. Again, I'm going to use it for uh, for Radiohead as well. Super great album, very different from stuff that I was listening to, but super enjoyable. I just when I heard that, I got this actually as a gift on CD. I remember opening it like for Christmas or my birthday or something like that, and then I was able to play it with maybe I think I had like one of those Discman back in the 70s or back in 1997, back in the 70s. Um, but just blew my mind just to hear the types of sounds and the songs that were coming out. Super great album. All right, so here's one that and some of these albums were just kind of iconic for the time. And yeah, I'm not embarrassed to say I like this album. This was a really great album. My number two pick for 1997 is Surfacing from Sarah McLachlan. Um, you know, what can I say really? You know, it was a good album. I used to play this album a lot in my furniture store when I had it, and Building Mystery and Sweet Surrender. Uh, how do you say that one again? Adia. That was a great song. Uh, just really a pretty hard hitting, nice album. I mean, really, really good. Just and I love hearing female vocalists. That's one of my favorite things. Is just hearing women sing and sing about their life and telling their stories, and I enjoy that a lot. And that's why I picked. I mean, I listened to that album. When I listen to it again, it just brings up. Oops, sorry about that. Brings up just a lot of memories and emotions of the time, especially when it first came out, and we were all listening to that album. It was being played on MTV, and then that stupid dog rescue commercial that ruined it for everybody. You know, I hated that. It was so sad, but it's nevertheless such a great album. Sarah McLachlan's Surfacing album. All right, so once again, I'm going to pick another album of the same album or same band that I've chosen before that may or may not fit the genre, and maybe I'm sort of kind of sliding a little bit on this one. It's not sliding, but skewing. I mean, it was in the top 100, so I can say that it was in the top 100 releases of 1997. As far as hits go, not so much, but let me tell you who it is. Jars of Clay. I love this band. This band is so good. And this album is an amazing album. If you've never heard it, you got to hear it. It's called Much Afraid by Jars of Clay, released in 1997. And well, I think Crazy Times might be their biggest hit. They have a couple, like Frail was kind of a redo. I think it was originally on their demo and didn't have lyrics, but then they put it on this one with lyrics, and an amazing album with some amazing musicians and amazing production. I mean, some of the people that worked on this album worked on a lot of very famous people's albums. I'm not really going to go into like the read off the Wikipedia and all that, but it just starts off with Overjoyed, which is just a great song. Fade to Gray, Tea and Symphony, Crazy Time's a great song. Frail, all these are just really great. I love this one. Portrait of an Apology, Truce, Much Afraid, and a Hymn. If you've never heard this album, I challenge you to get out there and give it a couple of listens and just get into just their take on presenting music and how it sounds. It's very acoustic in a lot of ways, and then some great guitar licks and very, very talented musicians. And for a long time, they were they're one of my favorite bands of all time, really. I just love the melodies, and the song craft is really good. And I can't really say much more about it. I mean, I could talk about it, but I want to try to keep these short. But for me to try to tell you what this album meant to me and how it sounds is very hard because it's a person. Music is personal, and each one of these albums has a personal. I have a personal relationship with, for different reasons. And the Jars of Clay, Much Afraid, was a very good album that I loved a lot. And that's my number one for 1997. Now let me see. Let me go through my list one more time while I'm looking for maybe some of the other top 100s. My number six was Blur, and then five was Foo Fighters. U2's Pop was number four, and number three was Radiohead's OK Computer. Sarah McLachlan, Surfacing was number two, and then Jars of Clay, number one for 1997 of my personal favorite top six records or albums from 1997. Some of the other albums that you may be familiar with that came out, I kind of skip over I talk about sometimes the rap stuff because I'm not really into rap, but like Notorious B.I.G. That was in there. But anyways, there was like the Verb, Bob Dylan had one, the Chemical Brothers, Daft Punk. Let's see, there's a lot of rap. Savage Garden, remember Savage Garden? Some Shania Twain, Janet Jackson, Elliott Smith, Portishead, Third Eye Blind, Deftones, some great stuff. Will Smith, Modest Mouse, Green Day, Spice Girls, how about that? Creed, Fleetwood Mac, The Dance came out. But none of this stuff really measures up to, as far as I'm concerned, my top six. Paul McCartney, Flaming Pie, I had that. It was okay. I was a little disappointed. I tried to like it. I love the Beatles. I love his work, but I know. I mean, I went back and listened to Flaming Pie again like a couple years ago, and it was good. I enjoyed it much better than when it first came out. Let's see, you got Incubus, Our Lady Peace, Chumbawamba. Let's see, Faith No More, Stereolab. Oh gosh, what else? Dandy Warhols. Just kind of Eagle Eye Cherry. A lot of these bands are very, very indicative of that time. Blue Moon Swamp by John Fogerty. You got a little Brian McKnight, Limp Bizkit, the Crystal Method, Smash Mouth. I don't know, Tupac, Boyz II Men, Teenage Fan Club. So that's some of the things that came out in 1997 that were sort of up against my personal favorites. But that's about it for me today. If you like this format and you like what I'm doing here, it kind of going through my favorite top lists. I've got other shows that I'm going to be also introducing as I kind of get rolling again because I took a couple of weeks off just for personal reasons, and things are all looking up and everybody's doing good, and we're moving forward and try to get back into posting every day as much as I can here. So we're in 1997. We're going to be going into the 2000s soon, so I want to hopefully maybe I can finish this up tomorrow or the next day. This week for sure we'll be through the 90s and we'll start getting into the 2000s, but that's still 20 more shows. If I start at 2000 and get to 220, that's still 20 years worth of music. So there's a lot to go still before we get to the end of this particular session. But I'll try to throw in a few others. I want to get Jeff Castanon back on, and so we can kind of review an album from the 90s. And I'm going to talk to him, see if I can't hit him up today and see what we can come up with. And we'll do that. And I still need to get that Led Zeppelin review going. Try to get back onto that, and much more to come. So I want to thank you guys for listening to my show here on YouTube. Check down in the descriptions for some ways that you can, if you feel compelled to contribute to the show to help keep it going. There's a few links down there to buy some coffee, and there's a PayPal and things like that if you want to donate anything like that, as we kind of build this channel up, and kind of enables me to keep on going and keep on doing it and to grow it and to expand it the best I can. So thanks again for watching, you guys. I appreciate you so much. And that was 1997, and we'll see you in 1998 coming up soon. Bye-bye.